You like this last one about the quarterback Darion Coleman?
Yeah, I don't know if I fully agree, but yeah, there's been like the minor tweak re-rankings for 24/7 and on 3 Sports in the like this week. And Dereon Coleman, Miami's commit from Orlando Jones, is not a top 10 quarterback in the country, but like was the MVP at a most recent 7-on-7 tournament, where like a lot of the national recruiting scouting pundits were. So I see like, yeah, there is a little bit of rage there. I think in the end, do you like the player or do you don't? You know what I mean? Like, it feels good to say we got 5-star here, 5-star there, in the eyes of others. If you like the players that you get, you don't necessarily need that, right? And Dereon Coleman, I believe, is that kind of a guy, just like Luke Nickel before, you know? And I think in the end, the final ratings are the most accurate, the final rankings. Now, they're not perfect. I think that they're more accurate. And I believe that Dereon Coleman is going to work his way up. I think, it is interesting that both 24/7 and on 3 Sports are setting like a bar. So, like, the players at the top would have to do something super ridiculous to drop, whereas those who are not at that height, they have to like claw their way out from the pits of Mordor or something. But I believe that Dereon Coleman is that kind of a player who can do that. He does have the talent. The thing also is, if you're looking at overall projection, right, there is going to be a conversation about the fact that he's 6'1.5" tall, 180 pounds. Like, say what you want to say. That's not a typical physical profile for a very highly 4-star, 5-star rated quarterback recruit. They are few and far between. It's been like Kyler Murray, who was way stockier than that and had been starting since his freshman year at Allen and rewrote every record in the state of Texas, and Bryce Young. Really. Tua was still stockier and he rewrote all the records in Hawaii, but he wasn't even, as highly rated. But he was more physical. All of them, except for Bryce Young, were more physically developed. And as you're projecting things forward, that is a part of the conversation. Like it, love it, hate it, whatever. I'm just letting you know that it is, right? So I get the vitriol that people are having about what they view as a low ranking for Dereon Coleman. I also agree that I think that he is firmly in the top 10 quarterbacks for this cycle, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that if that there are points of contention that exist where other people taking a different viewpoint might ding him more, especially from the physical build standpoint, which is like it's really hard to go on a limb for such an outlier from a physical standpoint, such as Dereon Coleman. So I think that he should be at a minimum in the top 15. I think in that top 10, I'm pretty sure he's going to go to the Elite 11 and finish in the top half. Like, this is a kid who, like, he throws dimes, guys, but he's physically small, and yeah, I just think that there are, if you're looking for things to hate on, unfortunately, there are some of those things where they can, oh, you didn't dot that I, oh, you didn't cross that T, oh, this is a comma splice, oh, whatever, kind of thing where, you can still get a 91A, but it might not be that 99 or 100 because, nitpicking different parts of things.
I'm late to the party here, but I was just curious about his ranking there. So he's a top 200 guy, top 20 quarterback. So that's top 20, 247, top 15. Yeah. Overall composite. So somebody likes him in the top 10.
Right. I think that that's fair at 13-ish. in the composite. I think in the state of Florida, 29, I would need to see the entire list, but I do expect that he would elevate from that. The 195 in the country, I think you can elevate a little bit from that. Looking at the composite rankings, which is what I've always looked at for 15 years, guys. So, or 13, however long they've been doing it. But yeah, so as to see consistency from class to class, I think he can get up into top 175, top 150, maybe even higher. But again, you're small and slight. I know he has this like lithe, wiry build where you can see that he's like developed his body and is stronger now than he was this time a year ago, which also you would expect going from being a high school sophomore to a current high school junior as of today. You know what I mean? It's fair that he developed his body a little bit and that wiry strength is there. But yeah, there are those things that are a little bit of a question mark. For his overall profile.
Paolo's showing up. Appreciate you being here. With how underwhelming the incoming class was, do you think there was a shift with how they're recruiting this cycle given last season's success?
Absolutely. We are like Miami's pushing for so many top end players. Major 4 stars, major 5 stars, getting them on campus for unofficial visits, already scheduling out so many official visits. Excuse me, someone in my eye randomly. But yeah, it's different. We're seeing a little bit of bleed over in a positive way from the 24 season into the the year 2025 for the 2026 recruiting class. Tristan Key is the number 1 receiver in America. He was on campus on Monday. He went on to the Canes Insight podcast because they have a studio down there, or they're allowed to use Miami studio, whatever. Anyway, but he went on with their hosts and he was talking about, the number 1 offense and seeing what they're doing and blah, blah. And I'm like, the number 1 offense was from last year, right? It's not here because everybody's new, basically, except for, 2, 3 offensive linemen, depending on how you want to count it. If you put a half between Markel Bell, Matthew McCoy, and then the right side of Cooper and Maui Noah, they're returning. And then, it's a little bit, but for the fact that he referenced it so many times in that conversation of like, yeah, Miami had the number 1 offense, and that's what drew me down here. And I want to see that. Like, you're seeing that connection from the success on field last year to this future recruiting class. Also, yeah, just the way that they're doing things internally. Like, there's been multiple hires, turnover in the recruiting department. So like the way that they're messaging things, the way that they're operating visits, the timing of the visits, the scheduling of the communication and everything, it's just not like good enough is not good enough. You know what I mean? Shout out to Dr. David Robinson from when I was in high school at Cranbrook. The chaplain who taught the religion classes had a poster in his room, and I've said it on here before: good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. That's what Miami is on in the world of recruiting, because I think that the finish for last class was super duper pathetic. I think that overall it was fine, but yeah, underwhelming. But they are doing things differently, because if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And they've hired new people, and they're taking even the people who are returning, taking a different look. And because this is what you always have to do. Hey, we did things this way. This is what we got. How can we update this in a positive direction? And I think that they're on the way to doing that. So yeah, this is definitely born out of the results from last season.